Hey, how you doing? This is Omar Laos from Agape Love Network, learning to deal with things that are difficult and uncomfortable in relationships. And today we have a special guest by the name of Caleb Jakes. He's coming all the way from Shiloh Baptist Church, and I'm glad to have you on today. Tell me a little bit about yourself, brother.
Yes, hi Omar. Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast. So like you said, my name is Caleb Jakes, and I'm a motivational speaker who speaks specifically about unlocking your God-given joy. And I believe, and my mission is to really inspire others to find joy and purpose in their lives. And I believe that your challenges, the things that you have gone through, are all stepping stools to your success.
Wow, you know what? I'm actually glad to actually have you on today because I've been knowing you, just for a little bit of short time,
Yeah.
and I just been inspired by what you're actually doing on the college campuses. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've been doing on your college campuses and just
Yeah.
just pretty much what you've been doing, man?
Yeah. So I guess one of the biggest things that I've been doing, I run a mentorship group at the University of Rochester called Endeavoring Minds. And that's all about leveling up your mindset, personal growth for young men of color in the ninth, I mean, not the ninth, the freshman and sophomore years of college. And so what I do there is I motivate them. We run workshops, and a lot of that time after our workshops is spent with me motivating them, inspiring them through my own life, my own situations, but also having deep conversations with one another, just to explain, our lifestyles, the way we've grown up, and how we can ultimately use that to grow in our personal lives.
Mm, mm. And so
Yeah.
just give me a little bit of your background as well. And I know that you are
Yeah.
trying to bring joy in people's lives and what
Yes.
you're doing on campus. Can
Yes.
you, fill us in on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I guess my journey started really at 18 when I took a course and trusted God to get certified to become a professional motivational speaker. And
Mm,
after that, doors have been just opening up for the gift that God had given me of communication to really be on the forefront, and to really utilize that to bring hope, to bring change, and positivity into the lives of the people that I speak to. And I know, a lot of people say, "Oh my God, you're so young, you're a motivational speaker." Like, hey, I want to encourage anybody. Like, it doesn't matter where you start, it doesn't matter how old, how young. Get started on your purpose. And I believe that this is my purpose to inspire those to walk joyously in this world, because there's so much
mm,
negativity. There's so many things that are affecting us in our day-to-day lives that cause us to feel down, that cause us to have negative thoughts run through our head.
mhm.
And I want to give practical advice, but I also want to give some, life experience to help guide others to a place of joy.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Because this platform pretty much is about mental health,
Yes.
overcoming trauma, overcoming depression, overcoming a lot of the obstacles that a person is trying to get over in their life, whether from a breakup or where someone has fallen and they're looking to achieve their goals and get to the next level. And
Yeah.
so I believe that you have fit this very space because you are about unlocking your God-given joy
Yeah.
and how to bring happiness in your whole life. So, what does unlocking your God-given joy mean,
Yeah.
and why does it matter? Like, why does that even matter?
Yeah.
What does it mean by unlocking your God-given joy?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
That's good. Unlocking your God giving joy for me means tapping into that deep, unshakable sense of well being and contentment that I believe that God has placed in each one of us.
Yeah.
And it's more than just a feeling, right? And we can talk about,
Mhm.
the difference between this and happiness, but it comes from a profound sense of purpose and peace. And it really comes from living a life aligned with God's will. And I think it matters today, immensely in today's world where, there's so many and so much chaos, and so much dysfunction. I think God brings order to a lot of things, and being in his will ultimately brings me divine joy. And I think one of the main ways that I've kind of come to this conclusion, or why I'm so passionate about it, was with my own health conditions. So about a year ago, I was maybe 2 years ago at this point, I had been diagnosed with hypertension. I was
Mhm.
on two different medications. I was pre-diabetic, and I was sitting at 5'8", 300 pounds, right? And so I had a lot of
Mhm.
health issues going on that I, knew was a problem, but couldn't really get to the root of it. But this whole thing happened where I had a conversation with a friend one time, and a friend in college, and he was just like, where are you, fully, like, holy, where are you? And I'm like, well, I'm good mentally, I'm good money wise, my school is great, I'm glad I'm here, but the only thing is my weight. And I said to him,
Mhm.
that's the only thing that I can't seem to find joy in. I can't find fulfillment in the way that I look, the way,
Mhm.
my image is. And that question that he asked me after I said that kind of changed my life. And he said to me, why don't you think God can handle your weight issue?
Mm.
And from there, I went into, I mean, one a transformative prayer with God, just repenting for the sense of gluttony, but also asking for His strength to help me revive my body and my temple,
Yeah.
that I wasn't taking care of. And through
Mhm.
that process of losing the weight, and right now I've lost about 90 pounds since that talk in last August. And I've really been thinking about what has brought me through all these years, and it had to be his joy. It's that deep
Mhm.
rooted sense of contentment, and finding purpose throughout my weight loss and wanting to
Yeah.
speak. There was so much good that came out of me just taking a chance to align myself with God's will. And his will is for all of us, to be healthy, to be whole,
Yeah.
and that means in our physical bodies as well. And so that's kind of where that root of my joy really stemmed from and started to blossom once I saw the transformation that God made in my life.
Mhm. Mm.
Yeah.
Awesome. And that fits so well because my purpose is for people to reach their goal.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, and when people reach their goal, they have a sense of happiness in their life because they've achieved something and they've gone to another level. But experiencing joy in a person's life, sort of like gives them some sort of self fulfillment in their
Yes.
life personally, even on the
Mhm.
spiritual level. So that's why I think that you're so important in coming into this conversation. You know, and let me tell you, man, when I was in my early 20s, and this is the time when I was becoming saved, but I had my times as well, you know, and sometimes all of us we don't experience joy in our life, periods in our life, you
Mhm.
know. And so sometimes I look to want to experience this myself, but ultimately our joy is actually in
Yes.
Christ.
Yes.
So
Yes.
here's the thing. I want to ask you, and because you've been so involved with younger people, well, not younger people, well, people in your age range and people who are even older.
Yeah.
But how are you approaching people in your age range, though?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
how are
good.
they
Yeah.
taken with that?
Yeah, so I think engaging with my peers, I find it essential to speak our language, right? Like it's not, anything I'm trying to say like so profound that you can't understand it, but I'm really
Yeah,
trying to be real with people, right? Because this is a topic that I think a lot of people, would love to learn more about. Like, how do I unlock joy? Like, how can I have a sense of fulfillment when all my circumstances are saying otherwise, right?
yeah.
And so one of the main platforms that I do that on is on Instagram. I make short videos, mostly biblical, about God's joy, and then I make some specifically motivational content just to get people riled up, and not only just feeling good about themselves but ready to take actionable steps to change their lives. And so Instagram has been one of those platforms where a lot of my people who are my age are on it, but also older people have definitely reached out and have seen my content, as it's also on Facebook, and it's also on TikTok. And so that's one of
Mhm.
the main ways, at least, I get my my content out to people. But I also, on college campuses, especially when it was warm outside, I used to do personal interviews. And so, and this time I would go up to people and I would ask them, hey, how do you define joy, right? What is your definition of it? I just want to see where people's heads are when they think about joy. right? And then I would ask them, a situation where they have found joy, where it might have been impossible or it might have been hard to do, or you thought, joy wouldn't be one of the answers to your mindset during a circumstance. And so that's really how I engage with people on a personal level. And then, like I said, with my Endeavoring Minds group, I often bring it up about joy through my own story, but also hearing others and helping them find access points where joy really was present, and how they could look at different things that they've been through as pivotal points for their growth.
Mhm. Wow. I remember when there were times when I would try to reach out to people and
Yeah.
for them to experience those kinds of things. But I think the language barrier was so much different. And I see how you are connecting to your audience and those that are on campus in such a profound way. And that's why I pretty much have you on here. And I would love to actually have you bring other people onto the platform and talk about this, to expand the discussion even more too, as
Yes.
well. Maybe
Yes.
have like at least two or three other people come on here for a part two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's an audience that we really don't reach.
Hmm. Hmm.
Young people want to experience joy too. They want
Yeah.
love. They want to experience genuine happiness. And
Yes.
that's true. But I think that there's so much going on in the world, especially with teenagers and those who are in their early 20s. They're going through a lot of issues, a lot of traumatic things in their life that people are experiencing,
Hmm.
especially when there's deal with teen suicide.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
much going on, the shootings on college campuses and stuff like that. And so they don't know how to respond to these
Hmm.
kinds of issues. And so they're looking for joy. They're
Yeah.
looking for some
Yeah.
happiness and someone to actually talk to. And this is
Yeah.
what part of me, because as a coach, I want people to experience happiness. I want people to
Hmm.
experience joy. I want people to reach their goals and reach into
Hmm.
their inner selves so that they
Yes.
can become the person that they want to be in their
Yeah.
life. Read some scripture and journal,
Hmm.
learn about God and experience God. And so that's why I think that you are so instrumental. So how do you create feelings of joy? How do you
Oh,
create? What do you
man.
do? Tell
I
me.
Yeah, I think one thing we have to realize is that joy is active, right? It's active. You have to be intentional about finding joy, about living joyfully. But one of the main principles that I believe, gets you grounded to walk in joy is gratitude, right? And
Yeah.
so with gratitude, I talk about that a lot. Being grateful for your current circumstances, right? Knowing that they are temporary, that they're not here to last your entire life, right? And so I think walking in a mind of gratefulness really helped transform my life of joy, right? Knowing that, I have people around me that are supportive. I have people around me that care for me. I can go to school and I can actually do well in classes. Just being grateful for the little things makes everything else in my life seem a lot more manageable, because there's something I can say, well, you know what? This is going all right. This is actually okay. I'm grateful to have this person in my life. Once you start to point out those things, a lot of us, we just move past it, or just like, oh well, these people will be here. But really, life is precious. Time, is always a commodity that we can never get back. So we want to
Yeah.
be grateful in the moment for the things and the experiences that we have around us. So I think that's probably one of the cornerstones I use to create feelings of joy. And then I have to, recognize and appreciate the blessings that I have, right? I have to realize, hey, look, I'm in the university, I'm able to make impact, I'm able to speak to people, right? I have to realize the gifts that God has given me is not just for myself, but for other people. And that's already something for me to be grateful about. And in that, I'm able to nurture my relationship, with God. I'm able to find my
Mm.
calling, walk into purpose more, and really invest in relationships that uplift and support not only me, but them as well. And I think the really biggest part of joy, which I'm gonna explain more in my upcoming book this year, but
Oh, wow.
really, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna get to that at the end,
Whoa.
yeah. But I really think I create feelings of joy also by serving others, right? Serving others not only brings them joy, but it multiplies my own, right? And it
Mhm.
creates, I believe, a cycle of of positivity that feeds our soul.
Yeah.
And serving others doesn't have to be this grand gesture, right? You don't have to give money to all these people. It doesn't have to be like that. But even your time is a way of serving others, using your heart in a capacity where a lot of people think, well, you know what? I just give my heart to everybody. But even that is a way of serving others. You're lending out a hand of love, right?
Yeah.
Even in your conversations, when you're, serving others with your words, speaking life to one another. All these
Yeah.
are different ways to serve
Mm.
others, and they'll come back to you, right? Because whatever word you put out there, right, it's sowing a seed in somebody. So the more good seeds you're sowing in the way you're serving others through your positive words, your lifestyle, and your life-giving attitude, it will
Yeah.
reproduce that in your own life. So
Mhm.
that's kind of how I create feelings of joy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Great explanation.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, here's one of the questions, right? And there's you have joy, and then you also have happiness.
Hmm.
So, what is the difference between joy and happiness?
Yeah, that's really good. I think happiness is often momentary. I think it's
Mm.
really tied to external circumstances, and most times it's like a fleeting emotion, in my opinion. And I feel like a lot of people get so hooked on happiness and not joy, and so we look for the moments of emotion. We look for the moments of our external circumstances looking in our favor so much that we miss that joy, which is it's there when everything else is bad, right? It's there when we fall into trials and tribulations, right? And in contrast, joy is enduring, right? I think it's rooted deep in our souls,
Yeah.
and it's a state of being. That's the other
Yeah.
thing. With happiness, like I said, it's an emotion. It's something that fleets, and I think that with happiness, you don't really with happiness chasing it, you look for circumstances to be in your favor, and joy gives you the opportunity to say, look, the circumstances don't have to be right, but I'm still going to be happy. I'm still going to walk with positivity. I'm still going to walk with light, and I don't have to speak darkness, or I don't have to speak death, because my
Yeah.
circumstances around me are saying, you know what, oh well, it's not working in your favor. I can still do that. And I think that's the biggest difference between joy and happiness. And understanding this difference, I think, is key to seeking a truly fulfilling life, right? I think
Mhm.
when I came up with the whole thing about being a joyionaire, instead of a millionaire, I said joyionaire, because I want
Mhm.
people to
Yeah, I
find
peeped that.
I want people to really find their worth, their value, and the amount and wealth of joy that they create in their own lives.
Yeah.
And I believe that's the best way to do it. And it keeps you feeling fulfilled, keeps you looking young, and
Yeah.
it allows
Mhm.
you to pour into people in a way that they, maybe never expected, or they never
Yeah.
had anyone do that for. And it can create ripples of positivity.
So happiness is temporary.
Yeah, I believe. Yep, happiness is temporary.
Mhm. So what about joy?
Joy is eternal. Joy is eternal. You will have joy. You will have joy. I think of so many situations where I could have been unhappy, but I decided to have joy. And I
Mhm.
think this summer really did a lot for me. There was so much happening, so much transition. But I think one of the main moments I can recall being joyful, right? I'm doing all this content, I'm spreading, motivation and all this other stuff. And in the middle of the year, my mom starts to get sick, right? She starts to have a lot of memory issues. She loses her job. So there ended up being a lot of pressure on me, not only to provide, but to
Mhm.
sustain our household, make sure that she was good, go to her doctor's appointment. So there was a
Mm.
lot of stress, and there was a lot of my external circumstances that were now looking like all at risk of being canceled, or not having enough money for doing things. And so it put a lot of financial instability in my heart. Like there were so many different feelings that were coming up at the time where my mother was starting to get sick. And in that moment, I had to remember James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4, to count it all joy when I fall into trials and tribulations, because I
Mm.
know that the
Mm.
testing of my faith produces patience. And but letting
Mhm.
patience have its perfect work will make me perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So with that verse, that carried me through that entire summer, knowing that the things that were happening to me, I mean, some stuff, even if I told you, you'd be like, wow, that's crazy. My car got stolen and twice and too much. I mean, so much stuff where I was like,
Yeah.
this is literally my testing of my faith. This is building me up. This is making me perfect and complete, lacking nothing. And it really takes a mindset and perspective shift for us to really think like that.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was how I was able to maintain myself during that summer. And I still found joy. I still was spreading life. I still was, starting my brand. And that whole situation that summer really showed me that my circumstances, look, that can be the way it is, but that doesn't affect me internally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. So how can a person find fulfillment? You know,
Yeah,
what is, how can you experience fulfillment, you
fulfillment.
know,
Yeah,
when you receive joy, you know?
that's good. That's
Or like,
good.
where do they find the most fulfillment? Is
Yeah.
that something personal that they should receive, or?
I believe that it definitely comes from our relationships, and I think joy and fulfillment often bloom really in like a garden of relationships and purposeful living, right?
Yeah.
Is living with intention. Um, but I think it really is deep rooted in the heartfelt connections we make with our families, with our friends, and even our communities. And you find and start to find more of pursuing passion, right? And it would align with your deepest values, and you'll start to have activities, that will even make you lose track of time, right? You just feel so good in what you're doing and working in purpose that it won't even affect, how you're feeling, or you won't feel tired doing it. And I think fulfillment really means like you're doing work, you're doing things that are, beneficial, not just for you, but for other people, and you don't get tired out of it. That's really how I can define
Yeah.
it best for fulfillment. And I think that really happens in those intimate relationships with the people around us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Uh, so I want to ask you a personal question.
Yeah.
How are you experiencing joy in your personal life?
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I think, especially with me being a full-time student at the University of Rochester, it definitely causes a lot of stress. Just being, a student anywhere, right? You're always stressed out. You have classes, you have assignments, and then I'm trying to run and do entrepreneurship as well. So there's a lot, don't get
Mhm.
me wrong. So
Yeah,
it's not like I don't ever get like burnt out or, I can't revive myself, but I think one of the biggest things I had to do is start doing more self-reflection, right? I
yeah.
had to take time
Mhm.
and say, what is going on right now, Caleb? How are you feeling? Right. I had to realize those moments of self reflection really helped me to stay guided for the next move. What's the next best move? Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
And the biggest way of my reflection is through prayer. And so I
Mhm.
find joy in prayer. I find joy in communicating with God, right? Because I
Mhm.
know that He
Yeah.
speaks to me. I know that He's alive and He's living. And I know that He has helped me overcome so many battles in my life. So why not go to Him, who's the bearer of my burdens, who says he
Mm.
has all
Yeah, yeah.
anxieties too, right? Why not go to him and share what's really going on in my life? And he will give me that peace that surpasses all understanding, right? And it'll guard my heart and mind. These are things that he already promises us as children of the kingdom. So I just use that as my lifeline whenever I need to get joy specifically. And whenever, I just feel like I make it a routine anyway to pray, but I also want to make sure that even when I don't feel like praying, or even when I know I need to pray more about a certain situation, I spend that time doing it. I take that time away from my activities, away from my studies, to seek God and His counsel. Yeah.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Okay. So I ain't gonna keep you on too long after this,
Yeah.
you know, but and I know that this is important for a lot of
Yeah.
people, especially for this particular platform, because
Yeah.
you're actually the first person, all right,
Yeah.
your age that
Yeah.
I have actually had on this platform.
Oh wow! Oh my
Yeah,
gosh!
you're the
Okay.
first one.
Mm,
So I'm extending this platform not just for people who are 30 and over or 35 or whatever like that. But we don't have enough of that. You know, I'm all on these platforms every single week, and well, not every single week, but that's a
mhm,
little bit of exaggeration.
mhm.
So, but I haven't seen too many people speaking to a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
And I think that this right here is very, very important. And that's something I really would love to do a lot more often because um, I work I work full time with senior citizens. All right,
Mm,
I'm
mhm,
around older generations older than me. You know,
mm,
and then I'm around people in my age range. You know,
mm,
and
mhm.
not extremely too much, but
Yeah.
I'm speaking to them. You know, and so I want to learn from those so I can connect more. And you know, and I well, people in their 20s think I'm old. So, some people, because I remember,
Uh-huh.
because I feel like the tables have turned on me.
Yeah.
'Cause I was in that position where I seen the older person. I'm like, man, that person is 40 something. That person is old, you know. So now
Yeah.
the table is turned on me and stuff
Yeah.
like that, you know.
Yeah.
But experiencing joy was something that I really wanted when I was younger, when I was in my
Mm,
20s, even when I was a teenager. And what
mhm,
was it like? And the ultimate joy one day was to get to heaven and see Christ's
mhm.
face, you
Yeah,
know, and see my loved ones, you know. And so joy seems to be sort of this temporary thing that we have in our lives,
yeah,
you know. And so, and then once you experience that joy and something tragic and
mm,
happens in your life, you have these
yeah,
temporal feelings to
mhm,
where you start to have some you start to develop some sort of trauma and you're like, oh my
yeah,
goodness, that experience of
yeah,
joy has gone away.
yeah,
And so now you have feelings of pain,
mhm,
you know.
mhm.
And so sometimes we look for things to fulfill those to
Fill that
fulfill
void. Yep. Mhm, mhm.
in our lives. And
Yeah.
so, and that's why I think this conversation is much more important. And I think that you, and to me, you probably would be a great counselor, a great
I've heard
psychologist if
that
you
before. I
were.
have heard that.
You know,
Yeah.
you should have that to be your minor or something, or get certified in pastoral biblical counseling, or
Yes.
you'd be very great at that. So, I want you to leave. Before you leave, well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to. Can you tell? Uh, no, give us at least 1 minute of how people can experience joy in a
Yeah.
1 or 2 minutes, however you feel. You
Yeah. Yeah.
and after that, I'm gonna come back on and just let us know. You can just let us know where people can actually find you, you
Okay.
know, and
Yeah.
things like that. Okay, is that all right?
Yeah. That's
Okay,
fine.
all
That's
right. And I'm
fine.
gonna put myself down and give you your 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay. All right. All right. So I think experiencing joy, like I said, is about embracing that gratitude. It's also about fostering your faith, and pursuing your purpose with passion. One of the biggest things that I've learned is that you have to see life not as a series of challenges to be endured, but as opportunities to grow and deeper our relationship with God. And joy comes from understanding that our worth and our journey are defined by more than our circumstances. And truly, they're rooted in God's love and his plan for us. And like I said before, serving others, we bring only joy, not into our lives, but not only into our lives, but we magnify it for others. So remember that joy is not just a fleeting emotion, it's a state of being. It's a constant presence, that guides us through every high and low, every trial and tribulation, and is that anchor for us in moments where we feel like we can't make it, in those moments when we feel like we need to go back to our old vices or things that have caused us dysfunction or disruption or destruction in our lives. And it really is about finding peace in God's plan and realizing that every moment, good or bad, is a step towards a more joyful and purposeful life.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for just giving us that word right there. You're a great inspiration, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to hear more of this.
Yeah,
More, give me
yeah,
more, man. You're feeding us really, really good. Also, what I would like you to do
yeah.
is to let everybody know where they can actually find you on social
Yes.
media, you know?
Yes. So on Facebook, I'm just Caleb Jakes. On Instagram, at the real Caleb.j. That's where you can find me. And the same thing, the real Caleb.j on TikTok. That's where I post, my motivational content, my biblical content. And you can also look out for my upcoming book this May, Joy in Your Surrender. And that will be out on platforms on my website and things like that in the coming months. So be on the lookout for that. Yes.
Okay, all right. Do you have a website up right now or anything?
Yes, yes. So I
Oh,
am
okay.
available for booking at schools. That's what I do right now. On my free time is just speaking at schools, talking about unlocking your God-given joy in the classroom, in front of audiences, graduations, things like that.
Oh,
So
wow.
if anyone listening is ready to book someone who's inspired and ready to motivate your children and students, I am here to do it. I speak to grades 5 through 12,
Mhm.
and you can find that on calebjakes.com.
Oh wow! And not only that, so when we finish with this interview, you
Yeah.
can put it in the comments
Okay.
section. You know, Omar allows the mental health coach, and so
Sure.
let me see. So so here it is. Omar allows the mental health coach. This is the page that you would have it. Also on YouTube is Omar allows Agape Love Network. Omar allows the mental health coach. You can check for me on there as well. So any of you out there that would like to learn about Agape Love Network and what we do, you would find us on there as well. Okay. So, and that's pretty much it, you know. And also, I forgot to tell everybody that please, as a disclaimer, this conversation is not a substitute for counseling. Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you have experiencing any kind of issues in your life, please go see a licensed mental health counselor,
Hmm.
you know, a licensed professional to help you in that area. And so I'm glad that we have this, you know, this brother coming on here that's motivating us today, pretty much on unlocking your God-given joy. And I think that, you know, you're pretty much a great inspiration, each and every single one of us, because there's so many people out there who are looking for people like you.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
keep being a tool for God, man. We don't have a lot too many young brothers out there that's doing a lot of positive things out there for people. So I thank you for actually coming on. And so please leave that in the comments as well. I'm not sure who's out there, but
Mhm.
if you actually go back and if you want to go back and actually listen to this conversation,
Yeah.
you're more than likely to reach out to Mr. Caleb Jakes. Okay. And thank you for actually being on here, man. I'm gonna reach
Yes.
out to
Thank
you again,
you.
man. You know,
Yes.
you can send me those links and stuff too, and I'm gonna like and subscribe to your page and
Okay.
follow you on there. Okay.
All right. That sounds great. Thank you
And
so
I'm
much.
gonna want that book, man. We're gonna have that
Yeah.
book signing.
Yes.
We're
Yes, we
gonna
are.
have that book signing.
That
All
is
right,
great.
buddy.
All right. Thank you so much.
Peace.